Queen strikes back. Simon makes a move. Sara reveals a secret to August. And Simon and Wilhelm continue on the outs. Hello, entertainment enthusiasts. This is Ray, and this is the Fandom Realm. And today, I'm reviewing Episode 2 of Season 2 of Young Royals. As always, this is a spoiler review, so just be aware. So our episode is going to begin with Wilhelm heading to class and being told by the headmistress that his mother wants to talk to him. He tells the headmistress to tell the queen that he has nothing else to say to her, and he heads off to class. Next scene that we're going to get to see is with Sara, and the girls are giving her a birthday present, and it's a pair of expensive riding breeches, and she is flabbergasted that they would spend that much money on her. And Felice tells that this is just something they do at each person's birthday. We cut to Sara meeting with Simon, who is also giving her a present from him and their mom. The present was a cheaper pair of riding breeches. And so she basically insults him and their mom by asking if she could return it, that they weren't as nice as the riding pants that she'd gotten earlier in the day. She needed the money. We do get to see Simon. He's going to talk to Markus for a few minutes, and they're going to decide that they're going to meet that evening at Markus's place for a movie. So Simon and Wilhelm are going to have an issue during gym class. Basically, you had a situation where Wilhelm went and passed the ball to Simon, who was open, and that's going to cause some issues. They're going to then head to class. Wilhelm's going to come into class, and he's going to sit down beside Simon, and when he does, he has a cover shirt on, and he takes it off and has it there at the desk. They're going to be bickering and talking when they are interrupted. Wilhelm is called out of class, where he meets Jan Olaf, who tells him that he's being withdrawn from the school. The headmistress shakes his hand and says goodbye, and he's going to go to his room to pick up his items, pack everything up to leave, but he refuses. He's going to end up grabbing onto the desk and says he's not going anywhere. His security guard actually tries to force him out, and they end up breaking the frog print snow globe that he had gotten from Eric, which apparently was his grandfather's. And we're going to get to see a very emotional little scene from season 1, which from what I understand is a scene that they cut between Eric and Wilhelm. I thought that was very emotional. You weren't really thinking something like that was going to happen, or that we were going to see Eric any this season. So that was interesting that popped up. So everything's going on. Wilhelm is actually going to get to talk to his mother, and they come to a compromise about him staying at Hillerska. Among other things, she says that she supports him, and he's just not old enough to make any decisions about his life. So once he's 18, they can actually work something out. She also requires him to talk to the school counselor, psychologist, whatever they want to call that guy, and that he's got to give the speech at that end of the year celebration. Wilhelm does require that they remove his security, and he will go by what she asks. Now, I love when he asked the queen to remove the security. She said they couldn't, and he basically said, and I'm paraphrasing here, why not? They're out in the middle of nowhere. Now, this had all caused a big commotion out in the hallway outside of Wilhelm's room, so a lot of people, a lot of students had gathered, including Simon and August. Wilhelm leaves and announces that he's staying at the school, and there's lots of cheers for that. We're going to cut to rowing practice, and then to a locker room conversation between Wilhelm and Simon, having a discussion about what Wilhelm's mother had said, and Wilhelm tells him that they just have to wait 2 years until he turns 18. Simon really doesn't have any of this. He basically tells Wilhelm, why should I wait on you for 2 years? Simon is going to leave, and Wilhelm is left sitting on the bench contemplating what was going on. Now we get to skip back, see what the girls are doing again. They're in the room. Everybody's together, and they are discussing things that girls discuss at pajama parties. Remember, we are still celebrating Sara here. And, they're playing one of these little stupid games about ask people embarrassing questions. And, of course, the questions they really started asking were about hookups and things like that. And after this is basically coming to an end, Sara heads to the bathroom, and unfortunately, Felice has left her phone. And Sara is going to see a text, and she's going to go through Felice's phone, and she learns that it was Felice who figured out who the person who leaked the video was. Now we flash to Simone's. He's writing a song, and he's wearing Wilhelm's shirt from earlier in the day, the one that he had taken off at the classroom. Of course, he got that earlier when Wilhelm had to leave class quickly. Once he finishes, he takes off the shirt, and then we cut to a date between Simone and Markus. They're going to have a conversation over what they're going to watch. Apparently, Simone likes horror, and Markus likes action. Of course, that goes back to when Wilhelm and Simone were watching the horror the first night they kissed. And then Simone gets very handsy with Markus and ends up kissing him. This is moving way too fast for Markus, though, and he stops the interaction, and they decide to take everything just a little more slowly. And this looks like it's a disappointment to Simone. We get to track Sara now heading over to see August. She tells him what she found out about Felice. She's also very interested in some things that the girls had been saying, and she basically starts making out with August, and then she pulls away, and she apparently has figured out whatever it was she was trying to figure out. Next scene takes us to the shooting range with Felice and Wilhelm, and we also have Markus. Of course, he's the attendant there, and there's going to be a really nice moment between Felice and Wilhelm. There's a nice conversation about Wilhelm thinking about Simone, thinking Simone has moved on to Markus, and Felice just told him, spend more time with Simone, prove that you can be trusted. And so with that, we sort of move on to our next scene. We're going to head back to the school, and we're going to get to witness the coup against August. Of course, this all has been stirred up by Wilhelm from earlier in episode 1, and he's meeting with classmates, and they are going to inform him they have chosen a new prefect and captain of the rowing team, and that it is Vincent. Of course, August gets furious. He bursts out. He tells everyone how much worse it's going to be with Vincent. We later on in the episode get to see that, well, it really is worse with Vincent. And that's going to bring us to practice. So the next rowing practice, they're actually going out and running. Vincent is being a class 1 jerk, and they end up having to run to make the team that's going to be competing. And Wilhelm drops to the back with Simone, and they're going to run at the back. Actually, Wilhelm's going to suggest a shortcut. It's actually cheating, but they are going to take that shortcut. They end up finishing up front. And then, of course, later, Simone is going to be upset with Wilhelm for cheating. Of course, it wasn't like Wilhelm was twisting his arm at the time. The episode ends with August answering a voicemail from Jan Olaf at the royal court. The voicemail was telling him that the queen was requesting his presence on Tuesday. It did not say what it was for. So this freaks August out because he thinks he's going to be punished for the video. And of course, we already know the queen has something totally different in mind. They're also, at this point, they combine shots in this last set of scenes with Wilhelm still in the locker room. This was all in a locker room scene, by the way. And Wilhelm is going through Simone's phone. He actually heard a text. He looked down at it, took a look. It was from Markus, and it sort of stunned Wilhelm, and you can sort of see he's coming to the realization that could this actually be over? And that's a sort of a scary thought for him. And then the episode ends. Now, I want to talk about just a few things that I saw today and just give you my reaction on a few things. First of all, I really like this idea that they are showing Sara interacting with these other girls there. These other girls are mostly nice to Sara, but with that, you can see Sara is different. I'm pretty sure I have read that Sara is supposed to be on the autism spectrum. And so with that, interaction with all these people are going to be very hard for her. But she's learning. She's learning to adapt. She's doing much better. But she does not pick up on social cues very easily. Of course, she has grown up in, I wouldn't say a poor household, but she has not been as wealthy as these other girls. So she's going to have trouble in situations where these girls give her these very expensive riding pants and her family gives her some that are, in her opinion, cheap. And I really like that they're focusing on Sara a little bit this season and sort of what her life is going through. I know this is all about Wilhelm and Simone. But I really enjoy that. I do wish they didn't have her paired up with August, but with that, August and Sara seem to have some chemistry together, so I'm not all against that. Now she's out in the world, so she's having to learn how to cope with people. Another thing I really liked was after they came in and tried to remove Wilhelm, the conversation between him and his mom. I don't know how honest she was actually being with him about things, but it seemed like she doesn't have a problem with him being potentially gay or bi or whatever they want to label him as. She doesn't seem to have an issue with that. Her issue is how is that going to affect the monarchy? And she basically says as much in her conversation with him when she says, hey, you're still under 18. Once you hit 18, we can sort of figure out a path forward. And, I think that brought a little more humanity to the queen because she really came off really bad, I thought, in the first season, especially there near the end. And I also like the fact that she actually mentioned the death of Eric and that they are all still grieving and, they just have to get through things. They have to get through this grieving process is basically what she's also saying there. Now, another thing I absolutely love about this show right now is they are paying so much attention to mental health. I think we see a lot of shows out there that could make this a very big deal and go in and make it part of the story to make it real for people. Mental health is one of those things that scare people away and they think there are big problems. But I love how they are dealing with this, getting Wilhelm to go to the school psychologist so that they can start the process of getting through this grief. And of course, we know Wilhelm's not only grieving right now over losing Eric, he's got problems with becoming the Crown Prince. He's also grieving because he has apparently lost Simone. And so with that, hopefully people who watch this show and see these moments are seeing that, yes, it's good to go and talk about your feelings. So I really like the fact that they are addressing mental health in this show and not just sweeping everything under the rug. Moving along with that, I really appreciate the friendship that is developing between Felice and Wilhelm. I think it's something that started, of course, she has always been in love with him, probably still in love with him, but she realizes she's not going to get Wilhelm. And so with that, she has become sort of that great best friend. And they're talking at the shooting range. Does anybody else out there just want to shake both Simone and especially Wilhelm at this point? I just want to shake them. Another big thing, of course, with August is they want him, I think, to be the sympathetic villain. Those villains work excellent, I think, in any TV show, in any series, in any movie, because it's hard to be mad at them all the time, but you realize they cause all this commotion and all this trouble, that they are just bad, and, you can't just let them off the hook because they're sympathetic. But then they seem so nice sometimes, and they're right sometimes, like when August was right about Vincent being a jerk. But I thought it was very interesting the way they used the message from Jan Olaf to August to imply that they were, in August's mind, imply that they are calling him to the castle because of the video. But we already know, because of previous Queen's conversations, that they think they may have to have a backup plan. And of course, we as the viewer know that backup plan is August, but August probably thinks he's going to jail. And of course, you've got to be heartbroken a little bit for Wilhelm at the end when he sees that text. It's one of the reasons why you don't go through people's phones. But, we're left, Wilhelm sitting there. It's a little bit heartbreaking. He's really trying, but he doesn't understand. And it's going to take him a while to understand. Really, both Simone and Wilhelm don't understand what's going on right now. And that's because they're still teenagers. So with that, I'm going to give this episode a grade, and looking at it, I thought this was another excellent episode of Young Royals. I'm actually going to give this episode an A because of everything that it covered. We hit characters, we were very emotional, and it did a lot of things that I had really good reactions to. And I can't think, again, of anything in this episode that I really did not like. Everything was very positive. I also liked the pacing. I'm going to tell you, this show's use of music is awesome, and I can't wait for every episode just to hear how they combine the music into the story. With that, I hope you've enjoyed this review. Please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Like the videos and comment below, and we'll have a conversation. And I'll see you next time on the Fandom Realm.